Hi, and welcome to Ottawa Eats. I'm your host, Tom Schoch. So nice of you to join us. This week, our chef will be a ghost. No, it actually won't be a ghost, but we are in one of the oldest buildings in Ottawa. It's the Courtyard Restaurant right here on Ottawa Eats on Rogers TV. This is my very sexy, very svelte-looking friend, Ian. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
We are at the Courtyard Restaurant, and I love this. You look like you could be fastening some sort of iron shoes for a horse or something like this. I like this.
Yeah. So this is actually made by a local company. Might as well.
Yeah, plug
a
away.
Plug out there.
Yeah.
It's Woven Grain, so you can find them on Instagram. He's a chef who, I guess, got into making aprons, and you know, they're really comfy. They've got these great straps that are.
You got the look at the
take
back
some
strap
of
and
the
everything
pressure
here.
off
It's
your
nice.
neck and all that.
Custom fit. This is now a fashion show.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Of course, you're the one who's going to be doing the cooking with us today, but this is an absolutely beautiful place that you guys have here. There's different rooms as well. We're in the MacArthur room?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, and how many different rooms do you have here?
So we've got 3 in total. This room being the MacArthur, obviously it's our biggest dining room. It seats about 90 people. Over to my right is the loft room. That seats about 60, and downstairs we have the Dawson room that seats a further 20 people.
Okay, wow, and of course there's also the patio in the summer when the weather's nice.
Exactly.
Which is a brilliant place to go and have a drink, have some food, and we'll get into the food in a second. But talk a little bit about this this place. I mean, I don't need you to tell me, well, Tom, it was opened on this day, but this is a pretty historical looking place. When you come in here, you're going to get some real kind of old Bytown kind of feel to it.
It's very cool. It's all post and beam construction, so if you look around, you'll notice there's no actual fasteners. It's all dowels and stuff like that. So the building itself is just over 200 years old. Okay. It was originally a barracks, then it became a hotel at one point. Then Phil bought it in 1980 and opened up the Courtyard Restaurant. So he's owned it for the entire 36 years, I guess we're at now. It's had a couple of iterations. It burnt down, caught fire twice actually over the course of the years. Once in the kitchen, once in the restaurant. Right. And yeah, that's basically the history of the building. As far as what we're doing, for me, I like to kind of respect the tradition of it, the history, when that comes to the food as well. Okay. We're into local food here, so we've been a long-time Savour Ottawa member. They're kind of like our biggest local food advocacy organization. So that's for consumers and prosumers as well. Right. So folks at home can check it out online, Savour Ottawa. So that connects me to a big network of local farmers and local producers. So when we're dealing with the summertime, we like to kind of honor the traditions of Ottawa and the heritage of this building, as well as kind of take the best of what Ottawa has to offer to showcase here. So you're not only getting a piece of history, I mean physically what you're actually standing in or sitting in, but you're also getting the same kind of ideology behind it when you're actually making the food, which exactly.
is great.
It's inspiring to be in this area for me, especially in this building. I love working here. And people love coming here. So
yeah. I'm not going to ask you any ghost stories. I know that this place is usually featured on the haunted walk. They'll walk by outside. You'll see that kind of thing. But have you been visited by anyone? Yeah.
No, not. I don't know. I don't really think so. I mean, I don't want to sound like a crazy person. There's definitely a weird energy in here sometimes. Like, I've been one night sticks out. I was making some crostinis in the bread oven downstairs, and for a charity event I was doing with Michael Blackie, and I was here very late. I had finished service, I had to get all this done because I had to be there in the morning, and it was probably 1 a.m. and the whole place is dark except for my little office where the bread oven is. And I just had this overwhelming urge to leave the building. Like I felt like somebody was pushing me out the door.
I would have left.
That's what I did. I turned off the ovens, took out my crostini, packed up and left, came back the next morning at 7 a.m. to make sure I got it done because I couldn't be there anymore. So, I mean, there's been some spooky stuff that's gone on here over the years. So,
when you come here, your service will not be haunted. You're not going to see your main course come floating into the actual dining room. So
not yet. We're working on that technique. Yeah, working with Google.
Okay, we're going to hop into the kitchen. There will be no ghosty assistance, but we are going to make some brilliant food. So stick around. It's Ottawa Eats on Rogers TV. All right, so we're going to start off today's show much like you would any meal, which is probably with an appetizer or a salad or something like that, right?
Correct.
So this is something that looks very simple when you're looking at the ingredients and, oh, okay, I can probably identify most of this stuff. But with a lot of people that we've had on the show, that's the best food is when it comes from natural, wholesome ingredients that are not prepackaged and that kind of stuff. So explain to us exactly what we're going to be making here and what we're looking at.
Yeah, so we're going to do a beet salad. Beet salad is something I kind of always have on the menu in one iteration or another. Basically, you know, you can always get them locally. They're always kind of in season. They can be cellared, hung on to for the rest of the year. One kind of theme I like to do when I'm cooking is to showcase ingredients a few different ways. So this has got beets three ways. These ones have been roasted slowly in a little bit of duck fat and salt. Then we just peel them and cut them into discs.
Now, why duck fat? Is that just for taste?
Yeah, exactly. I just, you know, I have a lot of it from making duck confit. So, you know, I like to roast the vegetables and it just tastes better.
Okay.
Instead of using oil or something like that. So the second beet component is going to be these pickled beet discs. So these are just done in a little bit of a sweet and sour brine. We also have some pickled shallots here. I'll drain those at the same time. And some compressed apples. And then the third beet component is going to be this beet puree. So it's beets, beet juice, apple juice, a little bit of honey, a little bit of red wine. So it's nice and rich, and it kind of acts as a bit of like the dressing to the salad. So I'll just start plating this one quickly. The first thing we do on the bottom is a little bit of candied hazelnut. So this just complements the beets, gives it a little bit of a crunch.
And how much of that do you eat just on its own? Be honest.
You know, if I...
A man with tattoos never lies.
Yeah, you know, I'd be 500 pounds if I ate everything here all the time. So try and limit myself, try and have some self-control.
Now this dish, this is on purpose, this is a sweet plus sour kind of combination. Is
Yeah, exactly. So we try and balance all the flavors. There's richness, there's, you know, sweet, sour, a little bit of bitter from the olive oil.
This is the beet puree.
Yeah,
here?
this is the beet puree. So we just kind of dot this around here. I'll just do a few dots, kind of make it look nice. And then we'll kind of build the salad up in layers. So next is apples that have been compressed in a bit of verjus.
What is a compressed apple? This is the first time we've seen this on the show.
I have a vacuum machine, and what I do is I put them in a vacuum bag. Then I take some sort of flavoring that I want. So in this case, verjus, which is basically like raw grape juice. And then we put them under vacuum, and it forces the liquid inside of the apple, so it helps to maintain its color, and it kind of adds a little bit of tartness to it as well.
Very nice.
So these are just pickled shallots. The last beet component, the pickled beets. We'll just do a little bit of ghost cheese crumble on top. This is Quebec ghost cheese. Finish it with a little bit more beet puree.
Do you find that the beet is probably one of the most versatile vegetables that you'll have?
Absolutely.
On your menu?
I think it's you can do so many things with it. That's why I really like this dish. You know, we can do 3 different techniques and kind of really show it off. So finish it with a little bit of dillweed, and that's it.
Very
Beet
nice.
salad.
So, nice and simple, but like you said, I mean, it's a very versatile vegetable, and you can do a bunch of different things. Now, why the shallots rather than something like a green onion or?
Yeah, well, I mean, for 2 reasons. One, they kind of look cool because we can cut them into little circles and pickle them. And yeah, they're more of, when it comes to alliums, shallots are one of the sweeter kind of onions that you can use. So again, we don't want something super harsh that's going to cut through the flavor of the beet. We just want something that's going to complement it, add a little bit of sweetness and sour to the dish as well.
All right, there you go. So a nice, simple beet salad that looks anything but simple when you actually look at it, but you saw the ingredients that we used, and there you go, right here, Courtyard Restaurant. Very nice. Beautiful color. All right, the second dish we're going to do here is a main course, and as you can see, he's already in full throes of putting everything in these different pans. So what is, I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on here. I'm very taken by this, but we'll focus more on the food. So what is this that we're doing here exactly?
So this is kind of my take on kind of like a classic bistro dish, steak au poivre. So basically what we've done, we take a sous vide beef short rib, so that's beef that's been cooked in a vacuum for, you do it actually for 48 hours.
Okay.
So what that does, it allows us to use a tougher cut of meat, which often the tougher cuts, the muscles that get worked the most are the most flavorful, right? So the problem is usually you have to raise them in a liquid and they end up falling apart. So that's like your mom's pot roast or whatever you have at home, right? So this is the same kind of idea with this dish here. So we take this beef short rib, which has been cooking for 2 days. We just crust it with some black pepper and some sea salt, and we just give it a good sear in this pan here. Like I say, it's already hot. We just took it right out of this thing here, which is called an immersion circulator.
That's what's going on back there. Okay.
So it's already cooked. All we want to do is get the Maillard reaction to happen on the outside. So that just means it's going to kind of caramelize up, get a little bit of that nice brown beef flavor that we like when we're grilling our steaks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
now I also noticed, like in the other 3 pans that you have here, you got your different vegetables going on, but you're using butter for all these as well?
Yeah. I mean, I love cooking with butter. Maybe it's because I have a classical French training, but it's just my favorite thing to do. Nice foamy butter on carrots. It's
there's nothing better than butter and vegetables.
Unbeatable. Yeah, people get kind of horrified if they don't know me and they see I come over to their house to cook sometimes. They see how much salt and butter I'm putting into things, and I say, guys, come on, it's flavor, right?
Yeah. Do you want it to taste good?
It's the best part, yeah.
Right, exactly.
So we're just going to baste that a little bit with some more butter. So the trick with butter is you don't want it to stop foaming. When it stops foaming, that's when you know that it's burnt.
Burned it, right.
So, and when the butter gets kind of brown like this, that's what we call burn noisette. So it's takes kind of like a nutty flavor. Complements the beef and everything like that. One of the themes I like to use is showcasing ingredients a few different ways. So we've got these carrots, which have been roasted slowly for 2 hours at about 200 degrees, and then we just gently heat them back up in a little bit of butter, caramelize them on the flesh a little bit. So we're going to use the roasted carrots, we're going to use some carrot puree, and then we're going to use some pickled carrots. So that's good to go. I'm just going to put it up here to rest a little bit. These guys are getting some nice color to them there, so that's good. Those are pretty much good to come out.
Is that a big part of your cooking methodology in that you actually do a lot of pre-cooking, so to speak, for a lot of your dishes?
Yeah, well, with certain techniques, like if I have to have these carrots that have been roasted for 2 hours, which helps concentrate their flavor, gives them an interesting texture, and then we can give them a nice color when we're done. If I had to kind of time that out with a guest coming into the restaurant to eat, I'd have to start these 2 hours ahead of time and be pretty precise as to when I was going to finish them. A lot of glasses of wine. Yeah, and it's a lot of unpredictability, right? Yes, so by doing what's called mise en place, we're allowed to kind of cheat a little bit and make sure that we're on the ball when the guest comes to dine. So this is just some Tuscan cabbage. So we just wilted it down in a little bit of chicken stock and butter, some salt. Then we've got these roasted pearl onions here. Just kind of classic, pot roast veg. And then the last thing we do for this dish is we just want to get our sauce going. So it's a pan sauce. We use the pan from the searing of the beef. We just get some shallots in there, a little bit of green peppercorns from Madagascar, a little bit of this brandy that we looked at earlier. Light it on fire.
Beautiful.
And this one's just a finished sauce, so it's a red wine jus that we make here. It's kind of the base I use for a lot of my sauces. So it's just veal stock, lots of red wine, some bay leaves and shallots.
With something like this, you don't mind that flame because that's just
the alcohol burning off.
Right.
So it's not going to burn like you're lighting oil on fire or something, and you're going to leave a burnt flavor in your pan, right? So that's just a nice way to get the alcohol burnt off.
And that's beautiful. Look at that. That's just beautiful, nice. Yeah.
So our sauce is already finished here, so we don't want to boil it too much.
Wow.
What I want to do is warm it up, bring it up to temp. Finish that off with a little bit of salt. Kind of turn the heat down and just mount it with a few knobs of butter. I'll just let that warm up and split a little bit back there, and then I'll start plating over here for the final presentation of the dish. So to finish off this dish, what we do is, again, like we were talking about, the carrots 3 ways. So we have our roasted. This is a carrots puree here. So it's just carrots cooked down slowly with some chicken stock, and we puree them with a little bit of mascarpone cheese. So we'll just do a little dab like that across the plate. This is plum puree, so potatoes cooked with cream and butter. Just do like 2 or 3 good blobs of that. Then we bring down our veggies that we were playing with earlier. Just kind of plate the carrots kind of randomly around the plate, 3 or 4 pieces. Couple onions.
In both dishes that you have put together so far, you've used a puree. Is that something that?
Yeah, well, like it's kind of like one of the themes I like to work with, right?
Okay.
Is kind of showcasing off technique and really trying to show off the ingredients. So if we get really nice carrots, we want to use those to the best way that we know how, right? Mm-hmm. Show the guest like, a little bit of style, a little bit of technique,
a little flair in there too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Make it add some value to their dining experience. Maybe give them, something that they haven't seen before at home, right? Like
right.
A little bit of an interesting technique. Okay, so these are just a few pickled carrot ribbons. That's that. Finish it off. We carve the beef. So it's been sitting up here warming up. Want to get in for the close up on this one. Get that nice juice coming out. So you see it's been cooking for 2 days. Still nice and medium rare. Just like that. And to finish it off, we just grab our sauce. It's been heating up back here. The butter. A little bit of sauce on top of the beef, peppercorns, brandy. A little bit of fresh parsley. Parsley's kind of a funny garnish, people kind of think it's a little outdated because you see it on the rim at Eastside Mario's or whatever, but for me, it's got a great flavor and I like the look of it. So, and then this is just a little bit of dehydrated bay leaf. Wow. And that's it, steak au poivre.
That is, you just made something that is absolutely stunning, look incredibly simple. That's absolutely, I don't want to say to die for because that's a little extreme, but if that was my last meal in jail, I would be very happy.
Well, hopefully it never comes to that for you.
All right, we come to the final part of the show, which to me, this, I don't know if you need to assemble it, actually. I'd probably eat it as is. Is that fine?
Yeah.
And we're done. Okay.
Yeah, if you want, I can wheel you out of here when you're finished filming.
When I was a kid, cheesecakes was something that took me a while to get used to, but now as an adult, it's one of my absolute favorite desserts.
Yeah.
Now this is your take on this, but explain exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, so this is kind of like Black Forest cheesecake. So the base of it is this kind of mascarpone and lemon cheesecake that we bake here in house. So I was working very hard on this all night. We want to get a nice hot knife and make sure we get a really nice, clean, even piece when we cut it out there. So that's just about perfect.
Very nice.
And then we're just gonna break it up and make it look all crazy. So that's what we like to do here at the Courtyard.
I like how you got a nice perfect piece and then you just break it up.
Yeah, just that was just for dramatic effect. So I mean, desserts for me, it's the last chance you have on the customer to make an impression. It's the thing they're gonna remember when they leave the restaurant. Mm-hmm. So you got to make sure they taste really good. You got to make sure they look really nice. These are cooked in some port, so they're just sour cherries cooked with some port and sugar. So it makes a little bit of a syrup on the bottom of the plate, wilts the cherries down. They're not in season right now, so if I can use frozen ones like this, it lets me get that flavor on there, which is kind of nice. The second part of the dish, so Black Forest, it's cherries, it's kirsch usually, which we're using port. Mm-hmm. and then some vanilla and chocolate, right? So this is a chocolate cookie crumble. So we've baked some cookies, crumbled them up, baked them again until they're nice and dry, and then we chop them up by hand so they get this little kind of nice crunchy texture to them. So just kind of spread this all over the plate. Don't be shy. And then again, going back to the same theme of using ingredients a few different ways. These are dehydrated cherries. So we'll just add a few of these on top of the cake. These are cocoa nibs. So this is just the raw part of the cocoa bean. Adds a little bit of bitterness to go against that.
Very nice.
That sweet flavor, and keeps with our chocolate. This is a cherry fluid gel. So we've just taken cherries, pureed them, add a little bit of hydrolyzed cornstarch, and that allows it to kind of stand up on the plate like that. So on the last touch, hopefully this doesn't blow up in my face because these. Yeah, watch out! Get your glass shield on. So this is just some creme anglaise, and we just usually that's served like in a pool on the bottom of the plate kind of thing, but something I kind of like to do with kind of sauces like egg-based sauces and stuff like that. Sometimes I do it with my hollandaise. We added this container, we add some carbon dioxide to it, so it whips it up, and it kind of lets it stand up on the plate if everything's going right. Just gotta have a delicate hand. So just a few drops of that, and that's kind of replacing like the vanilla whipped cream component of Black Forest cake.
Now, dessert is not your main area of expertise, right?
No, I mean it's this is definitely what you'd call like a cook's dessert kind of thing. So I've worked with pastry chefs and all this kind of stuff, and that's kind of another thing that's important for me with dessert is it has to, like I said, look, taste good, but it also has to go fast. You don't want to have the guests sitting there for 15 minutes waiting for their dessert when all they want to do is drink their coffee and enjoy the last bites of their meal, right? So with my desserts, I try and focus on keeping them a little bit more simple, making sure the flavors are rock solid, and making sure the technique is good and that we can still show off a little bit what we do.
That's absolutely beautiful. Black Forest cheesecake. And again, I want to do the whole, but I won't because it looks too nice. So. Well, that's it for another episode of Ottawa Eats. Thank you so much. I mean, absolutely brilliant. What you do is just
thank you for having me.
Ridiculous. You got the look. You look cool with the apron. You got the tattoos, and man, do you have the skill to make these absolutely beautiful dishes. We should mention that if people want to check out what you guys do or make reservations, the website?
www.courtyardrestaurant.com.
All right, and you can find out all sorts of information if you want to have a wedding. Right. You guys do private functions for businesses, pretty much everything.
All sorts of things. We do everything. So a la carte dining, weddings, that's our specialty. We do a ton of weddings here.
You have to come down to the Byward Market to try this place because it's absolutely stunning. So I'm going to try this cheesecake. Am I using the right fork here, by the way? Is this the right one?
Don't ask me. I'm not that fancy.
He works in the kitchen. He doesn't work out here. So thanks for watching. By the way, if you have a suggestion for Ottawa Eats, we'd love to hear from you. You can check out our Facebook page. Just look for Ottawa Eats. And in the meantime, I'm going to have some dessert before the main course. Should I just mesh everything together? I don't want to ruin this. It looks so nice. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Wow. It's amazing. So you cook the cookies twice? You bake them twice?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a biscotti. So we make a giant cookie, bust them apart with our hands. Once it's actually cooked, dry it out in the oven, and then we chop it up with a knife.
You're not married yet, right?
Not yet.
Ladies?